let's talk about some mystical shit. Okay? Let's talk about stuff you can't talk about with anybody else. I can't talk about mystical shit with other people without them thinking I'm fucking crazy. So, let's use this as a safe space. Okay, I've cleansed it with some blue sage, some Palo Santo, got my selenite here. I was introduced to shamanic journeying almost 5 months ago. I had a friend who's done it for decades take me on my first journey, and she wanted to take me to meet my power animal, which is a spirit guide. So she did all the preparations for my journey, like without my seeing, you know, I didn't witness these preparations. She gave me questions to ask. She gave me things to visualize. She showed me how to enter, you know, an underworld or the upper world when a guide is presenting itself to you. She gave me cues to identify that and questions to ask them to make sure that they are here for me, offering me something. After my first journey, I just kind of went freaking crazy with it, and I did a lot of journeying at home, and I did a lot of sloppy journeying where I wasn't making it a ritual. I was just kind of doing it in inappropriate settings. Like I was getting a massage, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna shamanic journey because I feel really relaxed. So maybe I can I can gather some messages from the astral plane while I'm getting this massage. That's not recommended. It's not recommended to journey while someone is touching you and they don't know you're journeying. That's kind of like a weird thing. Anything that's going on around you can influence your journey. Just like in any moment when things around you can influence what you're feeling and thinking. Like if you have a crazy 2-year-old running around your house, if any other moms can relate, then that's gonna make you feel a lot more hectic, right? And a lot more all over the place, and you can't concentrate because there's a whirlwind of energy around you influencing how you're feeling and what you're thinking. So yeah, that was my second journey experience. And I did get quality messages from that. I think I was really lucky in my first journeys. But then I started to not get lucky, and weird, kind of scary things were happening that made me fearful of journeying on my own. I came into contact with like unsavory characters in my journey, and I was like, I don't know how to handle this. Like, you know, I'm used to like meeting my power animal and like guides wanting to help me, but with a magnitude of positivity and help, there is, you know, a pendulum swing to the other side where there is negativity and there is evil. Yeah, I was running into some unsavory characters, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I asked for advice from my friend who took me on my first journey. And she was like, yeah, you need to surround yourself in this ball of light, of protection. But we didn't get to like the full way of doing that. Like I left and she hadn't walked me through how to do that. So before my journey, I was like envisioning like my inner light and like this beautiful brilliance of a light coming out of me. And I remember this tipping point. I went into the underworld and I was like swarmed by this like rabid group of wolves, and I was like, okay, I need to get the fuck out of here. And I was like, all right, today's just not the day to journey. And I went to my friend, and she was like, dude, like that is not what I meant, and you're basically like a freaking fly trap. You're like one of those, you're like a citronella candle for all of the shit in the underworld to come at you. But she took me through this practice. You imagine a star. You pick a constellation, you pick a star that resonates with you, and you imagine the brilliance of that star's light shining on you and through you. So you are in a column of brilliant, shining light from this star. When you breathe in, it gets brighter. When you breathe out, it gets brighter. And it goes all the way through you and connects to your Earth star, which is at your feet, and it connects you to the Earth. So you're connected above and below in this brilliant, shining column of starlight. Then you imagine it in your chest. It's growing fully in your chest. You breathe in and it's expanding out through your arms. You breathe in and out, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter until it's all the way through your arms. Then you use your sword mudra, which is these 2 fingers on your right hand, and you draw a circle of this light all around you. Okay, you can actually stand up and turn and do this. You draw the circle all around you. Breathe in, breathe out, and imagine with each breath in and out, it gets brighter. Then you're going to take your fingers, both fingers, and you're going to pull this ring of light all the way around you so it creates a dome over the top of your head. And you're visualizing yet again it getting brighter and brighter with each breath. Then you take it down. You pull down. You hook the sides and you pull down so that it encapsulates the bottom half of your body. And now you are in this orb of pure, like, brilliant starlight. And just feel how safe it is to be in there. You know, feel little glittering, you know, pieces of light all around you inside this orb and how safe you are. I do that practice. It's kind of like a meditation. I do this every time I journey. It's really helped me ever since. You can do this practice over the room or the building that you're in as well. Okay, you can mentally visualize drawing that circle of light around the whole building and pulling it up and down so that it's in an orb as well. So I do that for the building, I do that for myself. And now that I'm getting into high magic, kind of Damien Eccles stuff, I also do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram before I journey. Another thing I wasn't doing was I wasn't covering my eyes with a cloth. I wasn't making it a ritual in the sense of making it a special time for me to receive messages. You know, I was just kind of like, again with the massage, or I was putting my baby to sleep. So she's like cuddling me. She's like laying on my chest cuddling me. And I'm like, okay, I have nothing else to do, so I'll go on a shamanic journey. I had no drum soundtrack. You know, there's no drums playing, getting me to that meditative state. I had no eye covering. You know, I'm not holding my selenite or my obsidian. There's no sage to cleanse me. Yeah, I had no starlight protecting me in an orb. Another mistake I was making was I was not taking my power animal with me into the journeys. You should go in with protection and come back out with protection. I have a serious high sense perception that I've just now been exposed to, like, for a year. I've been on this journey for a year, and I'm calling it like a spiritual journey or like a mystical journey. I don't know. All I know is I had an abusive, traumatic childhood, and I wanted to heal from that. I was being triggered by raising my own child, and remembering these horrific experiences, that it was becoming more clear to me how much I was suffering from them still, as an adult. And I was only awoken to that when I had my kid. When a person becomes a parent, men or women, you can be triggered by the act of parenting into remembering abuses that you suffered. So that was happening to me. And so I went for help. You know, I was getting biofield tuning and some subtle body energy work, and I started getting Reiki. And from there, things just started making so much more sense to me. There was so much more room in my body. I felt like I had a soul. I feel like I was piecing my soul back together. My inner child was fucking healing. And I was like, I didn't know. I didn't know I could feel this much peace. I didn't know I could feel this much magic in my body. Like, I didn't know, you know, what I really was capable of. Through that knowing came these kind of psychic experiences that I became really fearful of. So there's only so much you can take at one time, right? Your body and your mind is telling you when you're ready. And so I think I was doing so much work, and I was coming to so many breakthroughs and revelations. And then these psychic things are happening, and this intuition is like rushing over me like ocean waves, and I felt like I was drowning for a while, and I was like, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm gonna die. I was having panic attacks, yeah, and I didn't know what to do. And still now I'm dealing with residual fear and anxiety. And I'm suffering from PTSD. And so I'm really trying to head on work on my PTSD, which I think in turn will help me shift this fear that I'm having into something, I don't know, that I can use. I don't have all the answers, and that's why shamanic journeying has been so important, is because I can go to my guides and I can ask for answers. And it's this like amazing world. It's more intense than kind of visualizing your guides in real life. Like you can call upon your guides, in real, physical, tangible life. You can call on them and they can give you messages. But in shamanic journeying, you're in this like meditative state. Like the drumming takes you to a place, your brain waves to a place where you can experience astral realms. It's like a sleep state, but not really. It's a lot different than a sleep state, scientifically, with your brain waves and stuff. And I wish that I was a scientist and could tell you really like the exact science behind it. But I encourage you to check that out because it's fascinating. All right, I'll take you through an example of me journeying without these helpful practices and me journeying with these helpful practices. So let's say my husband and my kid are in the living room, which is right across from this wall. Right behind this wall is my living room. And my husband and my toddler will be watching Frozen. Okay, and I'm like, cool, I'm going to take 10 minutes to do a journey. So I come into this room and I lay down and I close my eyes and I go on a journey. And I received messages. I didn't receive them as clearly. There were negative experiences in my journey, and it's just sloppy. It's a sloppy practice. So it's not lending itself to like further development. Now when I journey, I'm either alone at the house or they're outside, so they're not as close to me, and the TV is not playing. And there's no music going on, and there's less distraction, right? The windows are closed. I've got the lights down. I come in the room, I do some Gandai Reiki in the room. Then I sage the room, Palo Santo, light a candle, and I make an intention, right? I'm not just like, hey, I'm going to go journey and see what's going on, right? You can set the intention to be like, I'm going to explore the upper world today. Like what is in the upper world? What can I find there? What messages can I receive from that realm? And that can be your intention. Or today my intention was to see my higher self. My higher self had a message for me and she was telling me to go on a journey. So I set the intention on visiting my higher self. What are some questions I want to ask my higher self? You wanted to see me. What message do you have for me? What can I learn in these coming days? What does this new moon energy have to offer me? Because it's January 2nd, it's a new moon in Capricorn. So you set your intention, you gather your questions. Then I pull up the track I'm going to use. And I fast forward to the end to make sure that it has that sonic cue that it's time for me to leave. Then I get an eye pillow, which right now I'm just using a pillow in my bed. And then I grab my selenite in one hand and I have this huge like pillar of black obsidian. And so I hold them in my hands like this. And then I put my eye pillow on and then I press play. And I'm under a blanket. I'm really comfy. I'm like ready to go. If you've journeyed before, then you visualize a place that you have physically been, that you are familiar with. And yesterday we went to the beach, so I envisioned that specific beach and me walking into the water with my power animal. And then I went to the upper world, so I ascended a ladder. I came up over the clouds into the upper world and we walked around. We had some discussions. We met up with my higher self who had some things to say, and weird mystical shit happened, and it was fabulous. And I received a lot of messages. I grabbed my power animal and I left. Then I immediately, and my friend is who taught me this, and it's really smart, there's so much that happens, right? And your brain can only hold on to so much for a certain amount of time, so you need to immediately write it down. And I found this so freaking helpful. So I grab my journal and I immediately start writing. Sometimes I'll write everything that happened, vision by vision, what happened. But today, not a lot visually happened. I had a lot of like auditory things come through. So I was just writing questions I asked and the answers I received, and then things that they told me that I wasn't expecting. And then towards the end of my journey, I received some visualizations, and then I wrote those down. So you write down whatever you think you need to know or hold on to in your journal so that you can revisit them and experience those messages again. Because for humans, you really need to hear things multiple times to soak up the meaning of what it's trying to offer you. There are things that can help you have a more successful practice of shamanic journeying. And I made this video because I don't want you making the same mistakes as me, right? Like, I don't want you to go down to the underworld and be attacked by rabid dogs or wolves. So I really hope that this has helped you in some way. Let me know what other kind of content you would like to see. I just got into tarot cards, so I've been thinking about doing a, tarot card kind of introduction thing, or my experience. I'm also really into Reiki. I'm certified in Gandai Reiki, which is a specific traditional Reiki that Usui himself practiced. Also, essential oils are my life. So if you have any questions about essential oils, that's what this thing is. This holds grounding oil that I got from Young Living, actually. I have a Young Living lady. So yeah, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. And if you want to be notified of when I post a video, then hit the bell icon. Thanks for the experience today.